The following is a presentation of Fox Sports.
Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by
Bell Tire.
Well, the weather has warmed up in the month of June, and so has Brandon Inge. The Tigers' third baseman has hit .397 since May 30th, and with 11 hits on his homestand, his bat has helped carry the Tigers' offense. It's another beautiful night for baseball here in the Motor City as we welcome you to Comerica Park. Game 2 in this three-game set featuring the Arizona Diamondbacks and your Detroit Tigers. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Pemba, Rod Allen, glad to have you with us for the middle game of the series. And this Tigers freight train continues to roll on. Rod, they've won 7 straight games now against the National League in this ballpark. But the story tonight, Rick Porcello. It's going to be fun to see him back in the rotation. His first start since June 9th.
You know, I talked to Jeff Jones before the game. He's the bullpen coach for the Tigers. And, of course, he's a mentor to Porcello. Spent a lot of time nurturing him along in his rookie season. Jeff told me today he expects a lot better success. Porcello got roughed up his last time out, 8 earned runs. He didn't make it through the 4th inning against the White Sox, and the White Sox had a struggling team. But you take a look at all the pitches, it didn't really matter whether it was the breaking ball, whether it was the fastball, everything was right down the heart of the plate, and one of the worst starts of Porcello's career. That's why they skipped him for a start. They worked in the bullpen. They've thrown several bullpen sessions. Now they feel like he's getting to a nice balance point as far as the delivery is concerned. They expect better fastballs today. He's pitching against a team that's struggling, the Diamondbacks, and Porcello's pitched very well in interleague play. This is the perfect team for him to come back against and try to get back on track.
And Ricky Porcello going for his 5th victory of the season here tonight. That's a story from Comerica Park. Right now we go back to the Call Sam Studios with more on our coverage tonight. Here's John Keating. And if the Tigers combine for 3 or more home runs in this game, Bring a copy of the box score to a participating Arby's location tomorrow. Get a free small order of curly fries. Of course, you can find a copy of the box score in your newspaper or at foxsportsdetroit.com and the Tigers page. By the way, in this game, we are also participating in the Home Run Challenge. Every home run raises $20,000 tonight for prostate cancer research. You can make a pledge by calling 800-798-CURE or go online to www.pcf.org. Here is the starting lineup for the Diamondbacks. It is presented by Honda Bloomfield. Kelly Johnson leads it off. He's at second base. Stephen Drew is the shortstop, batting second, followed by Justin Upton. Miguel Montero is cleaning up. Chris Young is in center field. Adam LaRoche at first. Mark Reynolds really struggling in his last 17. He's at third, followed by Gerardo Parra. And then Chris Snyder is batting ninth, and he is doing the catching for the Diamondbacks. The scouting report on Rick Porcello tonight is presented by Ace Hardware.
Well, it's time for the youngster to shine once again after having a stellar rookie season. Porcello pretty much has struggled the entire sophomore year, and one thing that might aid him today, he's pitched awfully well here at Comerica Park. 7-2 with an earned run average, just a shade over 3. And we've talked a lot about the fastball lately, but he needs to use his entire repertoire here tonight if he's going to be successful against the Diamondbacks team that can hit a little bit.
So here we go. The Tigers won the opener last night, and they have won 7 consecutive ball games. Kelly Johnson takes a strike to start this one tonight. Johnson batting a hefty .270 with 13 home runs this year. Also leads the team with 40 walks. No balls and 2 strikes. Johnson has driven in 34 in the ball game last night. Had a double and a run scored. Johnson, Drew, and Upton here. The first 3 to face Rick Porcello. Rick's 0-2 pitch is fouled off at home plate. Johnson still alive.
And Jim Leland was talking about this Arizona Diamondbacks team and how they can kind of stretch you out if you're a right-handed pitcher. They did that against Galarraga in last night's game. A.J. Hinch, he can run quite a few left-handers up there, as he has done again here tonight against Porcello.
Swing and a miss, and a good start for Porcello. He strikes out Johnson. 1 gone.
That's what Alex Avila told me he had to get Porcello doing very early, is mixing up all his pitches, and he calls for a changeup very early with 2 strikes against Johnson. We're going to give it to you in Exmo as well. Maybe even Lincoln Mercury Exmo.
It's a bonus tonight. 1 out. Here is Stephen Drew. He's batting in the 2 slot for A.J. Hinch and the Diamondbacks. Drew batting .285. Had a pretty good night last night. A couple of RBI hits. Lost this one in the air toward left field. Bosch with the shades down, and there are 2 gone.
Well, Bosch is in left field. Let's take a look at the remainder of the Tigers defensively, presented by Beaumont Hospitals. You've got Kelly in center field once again. Jackson still ailing. The red-hot Ordonez is in right. Caddy apparently is okay today after a little dizziness in last night's game, which caused him to leave very early.
Here's Justin Upton now with 2 outs. Upton batting .247 with 34 driven in, and his on-base percentage in interleague play is really good. In fact, second among all active players.
He's much better than that batting average as well. He is much better than a .247 hitter. Made an all-star team last year, did Upton, and he's one of the few guys walking around that you could classify as a 5-tool player. He can do everything on the baseball field. Everything.
And now Upton with a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Justin in the ball game last night, 2 out of 5 had an RBI. Porcello in search of the 1-2-3 inning. And that missed inside. 2-1. Porcello's last start came on the 9th against the White Sox, a start he would just as soon forget. 8 runs in 3 1/3, causing the Tigers to take him out of the rotation for a start. He's back out there tonight, and hopefully much better results. Porcello 4 wins, 6 defeats. Of course, last year he led all American League rookies with 14 victories. The 3-1 is on the ground left side. It's through, a base hit. So Upton now is into the first 2 games in the series.
Yeah, too many base runners this year for Porcello. That really has been his issue. You take a look at the amount of innings that he has pitched so far. He has walked quite a few, and he's yielded quite a few hits in the league, hitting .324 against him.
Yeah, and if you average out those hits, it's about 12.3 hits per 9 innings. He's trying to lower that. Montero the batter.
Upton's got some speed over at first base. As a matter of fact, at some point in time, he'll hit 30 home runs and steal 30 bases in a season. He's got that kind of speed and that kind of power. But Avila behind the dish has done real nice work at throwing out would-be base stealers this year.
Avila starting back-to-back games in this series. Behind the dish. I was talking to Kirk Gibson, their bench coach and the former Tiger, before the game today, and he was saying how impressed he was with Avila and his throwing and his catching skills overall. And it really, I know we talk about this a lot, but it's really kind of incredible the rapid progress that he has made at that position. The 0-1 hit on the ground, a second on one hop. Easy play for Guillen, and that is that. For the Diamondbacks, no runs, one hit, one left. Good start for Porcello. John Kelly will indeed lead off. He's playing in center field, followed by Johnny Damon, the DH, and then Maglio Ordonez in right. Cabrera back in the lineup tonight. He's followed by Bosch, Guillen, Inge, Avila, and Santiago. The Bernstein advantage brings you the scouting report on former Tiger Edwin Jackson. Get the Bernstein advantage. We go to bat for you.
After getting off to a very difficult start this year in his new city, Arizona, he has pitched very well. 5 of his last 8 have been good starts, but no run support for Edwin. This much we do know: he will compete. And the way that he will compete, he will throw you lots of fastballs in fastball count.
And Don Kelly, the first man to face him, looks at a strike. Kelly in the leadoff slot tonight. Austin Jackson still not ready to play. He's nursing those back spasms. The 0-1 pitch. Bouncing ball hit to the right side and under the glove with Kelly Johnson into right field.
Let's take a look at the Diamondbacks defensively here in the ball game tonight. You've got Carr, you've got Young, you've got Upton in the outfield, and the center fielder and the right fielder really have lots of range. Reynolds, their third baseman, is back in there today after a mental night off last night by his manager. And Snyder is doing the catching here today. Montero, their other catcher, is the DH.
That single for Kelly snaps an 0 for 16. So that was a long time coming, and he's at first now for Johnny Damon. 314 average in interleague play. Damon looks at strike one.
It's always nice when you get the leadoff hitter on and you've got the first baseman holding the base runner on. On occasion, Johnny Damon will try to shoot that hole between first and second, which would allow Kelly to get all the way over to third.
Runner going, and it's fouled straight back. Kelly was on the move, and the count's 0-2. Ryan Rayburn was batting leadoff the last 2 nights and got on base. And Rayburn getting the night off tonight. Meanwhile, it's Kelly who leads it off tonight. He's on base. There's Jackson, who hopefully will be back for the road trip.
Jackson did take some batting practice today under the watchful eye of Kevin Rand and Steve Carter, his assistant. Jim Leland was also looking on, and I was watching as well. He seemed to be swinging the bat free and easy and did not reach down for that back area one time.
Leland said he will not play tomorrow. He's hoping he'll be ready for Tuesday. There is an off day on Monday, and then Tuesday they start that series in New York. 0-2. Hit on the ground to third and through. Reynolds unable to come up with it. It goes to short left. Kelly, meanwhile, heads to third base, and he's in there safely.
That is a double play ball thrown by Edwin Jackson and Reynolds, who also made a big error a couple of days ago in Boston. Struggles with his first opportunity here at Comerica Park, and Reynolds right now is just not playing with a lot of confidence. It's a ball hit directly at him. It looks like it hit right with his shoe. Johnny Damon very heads up after he sees the ball trickle into left field, able to get to third base.
So another error for the Diamondbacks. 40th error of the year for Arizona. Let's see if the Tigers now can take advantage with nobody out. They've got the heavy hitters coming up. Maglio takes ball 1.
As a matter of fact, Reynolds, after that ball game in Boston a couple of nights ago when he met with the media, he told the press that he's timid right now and lacking confidence. He said that.
Tough way to go out and play every night.
He said that.
Here's the 1-0. 2 balls and no strikes on Ordonez. Maglio sporting a 9, or make it an 8-game hitting streak. Time to get to 9 tonight.
If you're Damon and the Tigers in general, you have to anticipate maybe a wild pitch at some point in time while Edwin's out there. He's uncorked 9 wild pitches this year, which is uncharacteristic of Edwin.
Shot to right field, slicing away, and that ball will drop. Base hit. Kelly comes around to score. Damon heads to third. Maglio does it again, and it is a 9-game hitting streak. 1-0 Tigers. 46th RBI for Maglio.
Well, Jackson already pitching in some stress here, and you can see that Fox Track tells us at the bottom of the strike zone, and Maglio, in a very unselfish way, trying to get a fly ball deep enough to right field, which would be a sacrifice fly, but because Upton was playing so deep, he gets himself a single out of it for his 46th ribby of the year. Boy, is he sizzling hot right now. Sizzling hot is Maglio.
Here is Cabrera. Miguel batting .331. Still nobody out in this inning. A sure double play ball hit by Damon that went through the legs of Reynolds has really given Edwin Jackson a hurdle to overcome here in the first.
That's one of the things the Tigers, from an offensive standpoint, have been very good at this year, taking advantage of the opposition's miscues. When they make mistakes, their offensive players make the opposing teams pay. Well, we'll see how good Edwin feels today. 2-0, runner on third. A great hitter standing in the batter's box. Do you dare throw him a fastball here? We'll see. He doesn't really have a choice.
The 2-0.
Ooh, yes, he did.
I guess he did have a choice.
Yeah, and that kind of validates my point, too. You don't want to mess with the big fella.
No.
Not in the fastball count. You might be able to throw him one now after you've shown him that breaking ball in a fastball count, but that was one of the things that Edwin was stubborn with late in the season last year. He just kept pumping fastball after fastball, and he got hit around a little bit.
Jackson's ERA post All-Star break last year was .507 for the Tigers compared to 2.52 prior to the All-Star break. And Edwin, with those numbers sparkling early on, made the All-Star game last year. And here you go. There are the splits for Jackson.
I think some people forget how good Edwin was. Edwin had 16 consecutive starts starting in May until August. where he did not give up more than 3 earned runs to the opposing team. 16 straight starts Edwin did that in the Tigers uniform. Only 2 other pitchers since in the last 60 years have done anything like that.
The 2-2 is outside, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
And we know them both. Jack Morris and Mickey Lolich both accomplished it. Morris had 16 of them and Lolich had 19 of them.
2 lofty names in Tigers history. 3-2. Miguel Cabrera. Jackson in early trouble. Tigers lead 1-0. 3-2 on Cabrera. Neither runner biting that time. And Jackson delaying the inevitable. He's going to have to deal here with Cabrera. Bosch waiting on deck.
Well, you might as well start a runner.
And he lost it. Ball 4. That is going to load the bases.
Bosch had a huge at-bat in last night's game. It came in the 8th inning where he saw about 10 pitches, and he finally got a walk out of Qualls. And then he tries to steal second base. Guillen puts the ball in play, which put him in prime position for Brandon Inge. And Inge came up, and Johnny on the spot to deliver the triple over the head of Young, who was playing very shallow, and it's Bosch bringing the mail home.
So they're loaded up now with nobody out, to run in, and here is Bosch. He's batting .341
and swings at the first pitch 75% of the time does Brennan Bosch.
First pitch in there for a strike in the outside corner. 0-1. He let that one go by.
Good pitch by Edwin. Nice little breaking ball.
Career with the bases loaded, 2 for 2 with a home run. Another opportunity here with the bags full. Jackson, by the way, has thrown 9 wild pitches, the most in the National League.
Their team has thrown 41 of those bad boys, which you can imagine also leads the National League.
1-1. Tigers have a tremendous opportunity here tonight to break this one open early.
When you look up and down at some of the poor numbers that the Diamondbacks have posted this year, you wouldn't think they would have a winning record at home, but they do.
The road, though, a much different story.
Totally different story.
In fact, the Diamondbacks have lost 14 straight on the road. The 1-1. He'll go foul down the first base line. 1-2. Tom Brookins made a wide choice there. He just kind of spun away from that thing. Thought about throwing the bare hand out there, then pulled it back.
Sure, Brookins was able to catch up with his former teammate, Kirk Gibson, before this series started.
1-2 on Bosch. 10 for 28 on the homestand. And the count now 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That's a nice job of blocking the breaking ball in the dirt there by Snyder. If nothing else, it gives Jackson the confidence to throw that ball down there. Should he want to throw that same pitch, if you show your pitcher you're going to get down there and get dirty and block it, he'll throw it again.
Still nobody out here in the first inning. Bases loaded for the Tigers. And the 2-2. Swing and a miss. And Bosch goes down. The first out recorded for Edwin Jackson.
It's a fastball that's up and out over the plate. And no doubt it would have been a ball had Bosch not swung. But we've seen Bosch with those long arms every now and then foul off those pitches. But not fortunate that time. Tigers have to score some more runs here.
Carlos at .405 career with the bases full. Batting .295, had his 9-game hitting streak ended in last night's game. Fouls it away, 0-1. Carlos has 10 RBIs in his last 13 games. He has 20 for the season. Tigers got a run on the RBI hit by Ordonez, but the bases are full here with 1 out. Foul straight back again, 0-2.
Jackson, you got to get him early. Like most real good pitchers, they give you an opening very early in the game to get to them, and Jackson's no different than that. Until he gets to 60 pitches, he yields a .313 batting average. After 60 pitches, the numbers go down drastically for Jackson. Just a .226 batting average. So if you get him early, you got a chance. If you allow him to settle in, that's when these types of pitchers can beat you. They've got him on the ropes here now. There you have it.
Usually the other way around, isn't it?
For Jackson or for pitchers?
For pitchers in particular. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It is 226. Yeah, usually once pitchers get tired, it seems like their numbers elevate later in the game. But he seems to get stronger.
I think Verlander's numbers are similar to maybe Jackson's numbers.
This could be a double play. There's one, and there is two. It is a double play, and Jackson gets out of the big-time jam by allowing just 1 run. City. In fact, our game time temperature tonight's 85 degrees. All aboard. A lot of things to do here at the ballpark. And now the kids are out of school. I'm sure they're taking advantage of them. Another nice crowd here tonight. A beautiful evening.
This place is gorgeous.
Well, we dodged a bullet last night, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Edwin Jackson dodged a bullet tonight, too.
Young is leading things off. LaRoche to follow, and then Mark Reynolds here in the second.
Young is performing like they thought he would perform when they signed him to a lengthy contract after hitting 32 home runs as a rookie. And he is on pace to shatter all of his offensive highs. That's how good he's been playing.
282 batting average with 48 RBIs for Young. Perhaps headed to the All-Star game this year. Chris, in fact, last year had 42 RBIs the entire season, which covered 134 games. He already has more this year, so a bounce-back season for Young. And he drives one deep in the air to left field. Bosch on the move, reaching, and he dropped it. Young motors to second base, and he is in there.
Porcello's going to have to stay away from the 2-1 counts, the predictable fastball counts, if he's going to maneuver through this Arizona Diamondbacks team. Young, lightning quick hands hits a bullet over the head of Bosch, and Bosch had that ball, and it just fell out of his glove. Almost a sensational play by Brennan.
Snow coned it, and then it fell out of the cone.
That would have been a really nice. That ball was scorched off the bat of Young.
Here's LaRoche now with the tying run at second base. Nobody out. LaRoche batting .258. He skies this one in the air to left center field. Kelly is on the run. He'll go to the warning track. Young will tag, and he'll move up. So one gone. We go to the studio now. And with the game break, here's John Keating.
The third baseman, number 27, Mark Reynolds.
All right, Keats, thanks. Boy, what a wild one there. Minnesota with a 5-run ninth.
Where are they playing that game at? At Minnesota?
Philly.
It's only the third home run this year for Mauer. He hadn't been hitting many home runs.
Swing and a miss by Mark Reynolds. He leads their team in home runs, and he will also strike out a bunch. In fact, 95 strikeouts.
He has struck out 13 of his last 15 plate appearances. 13 of his last 15 plate appearances. He has swung and missed.
Well, when you total up the numbers the last 2 years, in fact, he established a record last year in strikeouts, but the last 2 seasons.
He established that first record in 08 and shattered it in 09. But he's got some pop in that bat.
Driven high in the air to left. This one has a chance to go, and it is out of there. And now a team high 16 home runs for Reynolds.
He's got some pop in that bat. 40 home runs last year for Reynolds. He also drove in 100, and he also stole 20 bases. He was the only player in the major leagues to accomplish those types of numbers. He's got real, true power.
It's a 2-1 lead now for the Diamondbacks. Got out of here quickly.
That'll get your confidence back.
Gerardo Parra now the batter. He was 1 out of 4 in the ball game last night. So Porcello surrenders the 2-run homer to Reynolds. And that snaps his 0 for 15. In the air to left. Bosch getting a workout early in this game. Battling the sun. And there are 2 gone now. Well, with that home run, another $20,000 has been raised to support prostate cancer research. To make a donation, call 800-798-CURE or go online at www.pcf.org. Mark Reynolds, a 2-run shot.
This Diamondbacks team, they can be scary on occasion. And with the power they have from Reynolds and Upton, we told you about Young.
Snyder, the catcher, batting in the 9th spot, takes the ball high. Hitting .215 this year, but he's got some pop as well. 9 home runs out of that 9th spot. Two balls, no strikes. Snyder last year missed the final 3 months of the year with a back problem. Played in only 61 games and hit just 200.
Old-fashioned ball player with the high socks. He wears his socks like the first base coach, Matt Williams, who always wore his socks in that fashion, even as a player. There's Matty.
2-1. Driven to left field. That ball's going to get down. It's a hit. And it's going to go to the wall. Bosch corrals it. He'll hold him to a single. Two-out base hit for Snyder.
Avila may have to start mixing in a few more off-speed pitches because apparently the Diamondbacks are all over the fastballs that Porcello's throwing in this game. This location is right down the middle, and it allows Snyder to get to it. But he also threw a fastball to Reynolds, and also Young led the inning off with a double off a fastball. So it's very important for Porcello to continue to mix in all his pitches.
It's going to bring up Kelly Johnson. Struck out to start the ball game. Johnson now 1 for 5 in this 3-game set. Diamondbacks have taken the 2-1 lead on the home run by Mark Reynolds. Wave and a miss. Johnson's numbers as a second baseman are really good in terms of the power numbers. In fact, his 13 homers are third behind only Cano and Dan Uggla. in all of the major leagues in home runs out of that second base position. He'll roll that one toward his opposite number, Carlos Guillen, and he'll throw him out. That's it. But the lead for Arizona, courtesy of the Reynolds home run. Unique individuals give their time and resources to help others. People Magazine's All-Stars Among Us recognizes 3 finalists for the Tigers. Through tomorrow, June 20th, you can vote for one of them by going to peopleallstars.com. The Tigers winner will be honored at the All-Star Game in Anaheim on July 13th. And there are your nominees: Gordy Van Heetsma, Willie Johnson, and Ed Deeb.
I must have not been paying attention, Mario, but did you know that they gave Brennan Bosch an error on that play off the bat of Young?
Yes, I knew that only because I was told during the next batter, but I'm kind of puzzled by that.
I mean, are you kidding me?
He ran a long way to get to that ball. It's an E7.
I'm like, come on.
I mean, I wrote down a double.
I do too. I didn't change it. I mean, I'm not going to change it.
Yeah, they may switch that back.
You got to be kidding me.
It's a tough call. Here's Brandon Inge. 1 ball, 1 strike on Inge. He'll be followed by Avila and then Santiago. Boy, did Edwin Jackson sidestep some big-time trouble in that first inning. They didn't help him out with that error, but he got a double play ball with the bases loaded.
Let's hope it doesn't come back to haunt the boys in white here today.
Brandon Inge on the homestand doing really well, 11 for 24. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, Inge had a huge day huge night last night. Single, double, triple, and of course that triple in the 8th inning. Broke the tie with the rain bearing down on us. The wind was whipping. And then Valverde came on and got the 3 quick outs in the 9th. Tigers went home with a win. Ball low. 3-2 on Brandon. Avila waiting on deck. Three-two pitch. He lost him. Ball 4. Leadoff man is on.
Talking to Brandon Inge in spring training, he said he wasn't going to be healthy until the end of May, maybe even June, and the numbers kind of validate that. 235 batting average in April and May, but once the calendar turned to June, Brandon has just gotten it done. 357, 364 with runners in scoring position, and his on-base percentage is 400. I'd say he's healthy now.
Sure looks like it. Boy, is it great to see his bat booming at the bottom of that Tigers lineup. Here's Avila. Alex cuts and misses.
Good pitch. That was a really good pitch.
Avila batting .233, had a hit in the ballgame last night and an RBI.
Jackson had a couple of back-to-back starts this year for his new club where he gave up 18 earned runs in 2 starts. And it's just kind of fascinating that Jackson would get hit around like that, because he got hit around a little bit second half of the year, but not to that tune.
He'll go to the backstop, advance the runner. Inge goes to second base.
Number 10 for Jackson in the wild pitch category, and number 42 for them as a team, which leads the National League. Jackson also leads the National League with 10 wild pitches.
To back up your statement there, 10 runs in a start against Colorado. The next start he gave up 8 against Chicago, but he has also had the capability of shutting down the opponent as well. He had a 3-hit shutout in Los Angeles against the Dodgers this year.
He's got that kind of stuff.
It's just been a wacky season for Jackson. 1 ball, 1 strike out of Avila, so the tying run in scoring position now. Nobody out. Avila has hit safely in his last 4. Can tie this one up perhaps with a base hit. And a ground ball back up the middle into center field. There's your base hit. Ingram in third. He'll score. And Alex Avila has tied this one up at 2.
Even though Jackson started him off with a breaking ball, and he knew he was going to get a fastball eventually, and he didn't miss it. He was waiting for it. Here's the base hit right back up the middle. And, of course, he's been doing nice work overall lately as Avila, and that's why he's been getting the bulk of the playing time. He did this in the 8th. That gave the Tigers a 2-run spread.
The 2 big hits in that inning. Inge with the triple, and then Avila scoring it. 10th RBI of the year now for Alex, who continues to perk up offensively. Here's Santiago. Santiago getting the start at short tonight. He's batting .262 for the year. He's scored 5 times in his last 6 games. Tigers still trying to feel their way through that shortstop position ever since Adam Everett was designated for assignment. He shows bunt, drags one down. Jackson comes over to make the play, and he will tag him as well.
What an athlete. There's not a lot of pitchers that can make that play. Trust me. What an athlete. It's a really good bunt by Santiago. But look at Jackson. I mean, look at Jackson. Determined.
Sacrifice. And then he's put out 1 unassisted. Now we'll see if the Tigers can get the go-ahead run in here. 2-2 game. Santiago advancing the runner. Here's the top of the lineup now. Don Kelly. Single and scored a run back in the first. Strike 1. Each team now with 3 hits already in this game. A.J. Hinch's team came into this one at 26-42 over in the National League, and they were pulling up the rear in the West.
They thought they were going to be a whole lot better than that. With Heron, of course, at the top of that rotation. They brought Jackson over. They thought Brandon Webb would be healthy again this year, but he is still not healthy. Their ace, he's on the disabled list.
Here's the 0-1. 0-2 on Kelly. May or may not remember, but A.J. Hinch was a Tiger very briefly back in that 2003 season, and he was a part of that team that lost 119 games. He knew how difficult it was here in Detroit. He did hit 3 home runs that year in limited playing time.
Brandon said seeing A.J. Hinch made him feel old because of the reason that you just stated. They were teammates in 03.
Brandon's starting to put some years behind him now. He's been around a while. And has certainly seen a lot, the highs and the lows for the Tigers.
A.J. Hinch was telling me yesterday that this whole managing thing just kind of caught him off guard. He got a call from Josh Burns, their general manager. This was after Bob Melvin, or close to the time when Bob Melvin was going to get let go last year. And he said Josh Burns asked him, have you ever thought about managing? And AJ said, well, not really. And he said, well, would you like to manage? And AJ said, well, maybe sometime. He said, okay, how about Friday? And AJ said, well, where? He says, in the big leagues. So he said this whole thing of him getting this manager's job was just kind of thrown in his lap. And it caught a lot of people by surprise. Really, it did.
How about Friday? 2-2 on Don Kelly. And he drives one to the air. Right field. Upton is going to have room. Kelly is out.
That's a play right there if you're Avila, because you know that ball's going to get caught. You can go back to second base and you can tag to go over to third base. Even though Upton has a very strong arm in right field, you know that ball's going to be caught. So you can get over to third base. And, of course, it's easier to score from third than it is for second. I mean, you can score on a wild pitch, and we've documented some of the wild pitches that have been thrown by this Diamondbacks team this year. It's a little minor thing, but it's a thing that should have been done there.
There's Johnny Damon. Damon reaching on an error by Mark Reynolds back in the first. Last night's game was a seesaw affair, and it appears that tonight's may be one as well. Tigers raced out to a 4-0 lead last night. Diamondbacks came back to tie it up. Armando Galarraga not quite as sharp as he had been in previous starts.
Yeah, he was picking in the strike zone last night. He wasn't throwing many strikes.
The 1-0. Damon slices one to the shortstop, and Drew hauls it in. So the side is retired. Tigers get a run to tie it up. 2 in the books. It's a 2-2 game. Trusted name at eye care. And by AT&T, find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, rethink possible. Say sounds of B-Dab in concert before the game here today. Rocking it out. The Fox Sports Detroit.com set here before the game. They had quite a crowd.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, not at all. Not bad at all.
She got the red glasses on, the red tennis shoes.
Well, here we go now in the top of the third. 2-2 is our score. And it's a strike call from Rick Porcello, Drew, Upton, and Montero here in the third for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Drew is 0 for 1, and he takes the ball inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Stephen Drew, since the start of the 08 season, leads the major leagues in triples with 29. He will line one right to Carlos Guillen. 1 out. By the way, you can vote for your Tigers McDonald's player of the game using your cell phone. Text Tigers followed by space and the player's uniform number to 37338. That's FSDET. See the final results postgame during Tigers Live and check your text response for special offers from McDonald's. 1 away for Justin Upton. And a single did not score in the first. Porcello missing outside.
Diamondbacks signed Upton to a very nice contract before this season started. And there are some people that travel with this Diamondbacks organization. They feel like a very young player sometimes tries to live up to the very big contract. And they feel like that has been one of his issues the first half of the season, trying to live up to those lofty numbers that he got paid.
Well, Upton had the All-Star season last year with 26 homers, hit 300. Check the swing, strike called by Hunter Wendelstedt.
At some point in time this year, for a few games, A.J. Hinch had to bump him down to the 7th spot in their batting order just to get him going again. Yeah, but you can see he's batting 3rd again.
The 1-2. He was part of that 05 draft, first overall pick in 05, and that was a draft that really gave the big leagues a lot of talent. Zimmerman was part of that draft, Brian Braun, Troy Tulowitzki.
Wow, that is a lot of talent.
Jay Bruce. Checked it, strike 3. 2 gone.
Nice pitch. Good change piece at 80 miles an hour from Porcello, and it froze up Lincoln Mercury Expo.
Nice.
Sweet.
Second strikeout for Rick. Here's Montero. Montero is 0 for 1, a ground out. He homered in the ball game last night in his 5th season now with the Diamondbacks. It's amazing what they can do, what these doctors can do these days, and how little time it takes to get guys back in the lineup. He had a slight meniscus tear in April that he had taken care of, and they just went in, repaired it, and here he is a couple of months later back in the lineup. And he's hitting well. That came in at 394. He's ahead of the count, 3-0. Right back up the middle into center. He takes a 3-0 pitch and bangs a single to center field. Fourth hit of the game for the Diamondbacks. There's Chris Young. Reaching on an error in the 2nd inning. They called it an error on Bosch. He hit that ball to left field, and here's another look at that play.
Yeah, you be the judge of it. And that doesn't show how far he had to run for it. In the sun.
1 ball, 1 strike on Young. Each team with an error tonight.
That's what Brennan's looking at. Left field's a tough position to play here early in games, especially.
The 1-1. Young right now with a 9-game streak, and that's how difficult it can be even for the fans. Bosch has the sunglasses. Here's the 1-2 toward the second baseman. Yen short hops it and throws him out. So nothing doing for the Diamondbacks. No runs to hit, 1 left, 2.5 in the books. Ordonez will lead it off.
Hey fans, I got a good deal for you. All you can eat seats. They're at Comerica Park. They're on sale now. Located in the upper suite level. Seats come with an endless supply of hamburgers and hot dogs, chicken, soft drinks, and more. Call 866-66-TIGER or visit tigers.com.
Well, Jackson back to the hill, and here is Ordonez to lead it off. Maglio to be followed by Cabrera, then Bosch. The Tigers and the Diamondbacks tied at 2 in the middle game of this series. 7-game winning streak for Detroit. And that has popped up. Shallow right field. And caught to the grass. Kelly Johnson, one gone. Well, look at Minnesota now. They're up 13-10 as that game goes to the bottom of the 11th. And Minnesota had a 5-run ninth inning to tie that thing up. And the Tigers, of course, a half game back. So it looked like Minnesota was going to go down tonight, and they put together a furious comeback and now have a 3-run lead. Not a whole lot of pitching in that game, apparently. 0-1 on Cabrera. Tigers have been out hit in this game 4-3. Bouncing ball to second. Johnson is right there. 2 gone. Dan Dickerson, the radio voice of the Tigers, and I were talking before the game today. He was looking up the last time the Tigers won 8 straight games, which they can do with a win tonight. 06 and 07. Those 2 seasons. There's Double D. And he said, believe it or not, Tigers' last 8-game winning streak was 07. The year they had done it before 06, 1984.
Wow.
They had gone from 84 to 06 before they'd won 8 straight. Dan was good with the numbers. Meanwhile, it's a 5-pitch inning. How about that for a number? For Edwin Jackson. Tonight, who have the Tigers faced most often in interleague play? Which team have they seen the most in interleague play? You know, you could make a case for these Diamondbacks, couldn't you?
Yes.
Maybe they're the team. Another warm evening here. And so you might as well get yourself a bottle of water. It was 85 at game time. It was actually pretty nice today. Then we got to the ballpark and it really started to heat up. Porcello back to work as LaRoche leads it off. He'll be followed by Reynolds and then Parra.
Doesn't seem like it's much humidity here tonight. Very comfortable, appears.
The 0-1 pitch. You can deal with the high temps. It's when the humidity starts to rear its ugly head.
That's when it gets a little uncomfortable.
1-1 on LaRoche, who fly to center field back in the second. Rips that one right back off Porcello and into short left field.
It's the 3rd time Porcello has been hit this year on batted balls. He got hit twice in the same game against the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Kevin Rand comes running out. Jim Leland also making his way out. Porcello seems to be all right. Target practice.
Looked like it got him right on the top of the shoulder. The right shoulder, that is. It sure did.
Exmo does not lie. Ooh, a little bit of the glove.
Boy, it's a game of inches. I'm telling you.
Kevin Rand is still out there. Leland went back to the dugout, so apparently Porcello is okay.
Kevin Rand, outstanding trainer here, and has been a big league trainer for a long time. He was in Florida when Dave was the general manager there, so good for Kevin.
Steve Carter to his left.
His right-hand man. Along with Doug Teeter. Tigers have 3 trainers.
Reynolds hits one the other way. There's a base hit, and LaRoche will go to second and hold there. It's bobbled momentarily by Ordonez, but no further damage.
Well, if you weren't with us earlier, we told you that Reynolds had struck out 13 of his last 15 plate appearances, but 2 for 2 here today. A big fly and a broken bat single.
So in a 2-2 game, here come the Diamondbacks. It'll be Parra, the number 8 hitter. He flied to left field his first time.
If he's batting 8th, he's got 1 home run and 10 RBIs. That means the bunt's in order. And for him, at least it is for most teams in the National League. But he does not have one this year.
Ball 1 to Parra. Recalled from their AAA team in Reno on May 19th.
Bo Porter, new third base coach here for A.J. Hinch.
Bouncing ball to first base. Cabrera has it. Fires to second one. Here comes the relay. There's a double play. I was just about to say. He's hit it to 4 of them this year. Make it 5 now.
This is a play that they worked on long and hard with Cabrera. Once you grab the ball, they want you to first and foremost make a good firm throw. Forget about getting back to first base yourself. Make the good throw, which he does. Now he gets it to Santiago, and now he can get back to first base. There are so many first basemen that rush that throw to the shortstop that they make a poor throw because they're thinking about the second part of their job, and that's getting back to the bag. It's a very nice job there by Cabrera, and Parra is fuming.
Here's Snyder. Snyder had a single back in the second. So each team now has turned a double play. Of course, Jackson got his with the bases loaded in the first when the Tigers were threatening to bust it wide open. Porcello giving up the 2-run homer in the second to Reynolds, and so far that's it. Here's the 1-1. Swing and a miss. 1-2 on Snyder. Played his college ball at the University of Houston. He is a Houston native. In fact, he was a finalist in his days at Houston for the Johnny Bench Award, which goes yearly to the top collegiate catcher. And the 1-2. Not too many seats to be had here tonight on a gorgeous night. Tigers showing up again. Tiger fans in large numbers.
You might want to throw your slider here to Snyder. You don't want to make a mistake with a fastball. But if you locate a good slider, you can get a swing and miss and get your team back in the dugout. He threw the slider, but he might have gotten a little bit too much plate with it, and that allowed Snyder to reach out and get a piece of it. You got to get it down. Avila will block it.
One and 2 on Snyder. At 37,000 fans here last night. 37,000 plus. I would imagine we'll get to that figure, if not beyond, here tonight. Weekend baseball here is a special thing.
Especially when you get the fireworks after the game. The kids always love that. They were postponed last night because of the weather that was barreling down on Comerica Park.
Again, the 1-2. And again, he pulls it foul. By the way, this game tonight is available in crystal clear high definition on Fox Sports Detroit HD, sponsored by Comcast. Everybody okay down there? He must have taken a shot. Here's the 1-2. And it's outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That slider, I still believe, is the pitch to get him out.
Tigers tonight have been out hit 6-3.
They're going with a fastball.
And now it's 3-2. It is a final in 11, 13-10. Minnesota has come back and beaten Philadelphia in a wild game in Philly. So for the time being, Tigers now a game back. 10th pitch coming up, and he struck him out. Snyder is out of there. No stranger runner at third. 3.5 the books. Here's our AT&T trivia question again tonight. Who have the Tigers faced most often in interleague play?
Arizona.
Well, that was my guess, but St. Louis Cardinals, 26 games. Against the Redbirds, 17-9 record. Here are the rest of them. Pirates, D-backs, and then the Brewers and Rockies. The Cardinals are first on that list.
That win tonight by the Minnesota Twins is a real big win. Come from behind variety because they got Roy Halladay tomorrow, who's always tough.
5 in the 9th, 1 in the 10th, 3 in the 11th for Minnesota tonight. 9 of their 13 runs in the final 3 innings. Guillen leading it off. Cuts and misses, 0-2.
One thing about Jackson, he will give you that high gas, that easy delivery, and the ball just kind of explodes out of his hand at 95 miles an hour. He pitches at 95. He will touch 97. On occasion, he will touch 98 miles an hour with his fastball. Jackson also has a slider. a changeup, and a curveball. Does not throw the curveball all that often. And pretty much just a two-pitch pitcher. Power guy, fastball slider.
Here's the 1-2. Bouncing ball to second base. Routine for Kelly Johnson. So Jackson starting to settle in now. 7 straight he's retired. Bring up Brandon Inge. Jackson last year won 13 in a Tigers uniform. 13-9 on his way to the All-Star game last year.
The year before that, he won 14 games in a Tampa Bay Rays uniform. So 27 wins the last 2 years in the American League for Jackson. Who kind of fits the profile of an American League starter. Power guy at 95 miles an hour. And a real nice competitor. He's not scared.
Back in the National League these days, where he started his career with the Dodgers. 1-1 on Brandon. Tigers traded away Matt Joyce to get him from Tampa. A 1-1 pitch. Edwin was so dominant at one point last year. 16 straight starts of 3 earned runs or less. Documented the outstanding ERA prior to the All-Star break. 2-2. Jackson was born in Germany. His father was in the military. He lives in Georgia. And Edwin still just 26 years old.
Right in his prime. Very durable. He stayed healthy.
Bouncing ball to short. Stephen Drew. 2 gone.
Hey fans, as soon as the game ends, our coverage continues with Tigers Live. You'll hear from the manager, Jim Leland, and the players. Plus, we'll break down the game and show you all the highlights. Tigers Live from the Call Sam Studios immediately after the game here on Fox Sports Detroit. John Keating hanging out in the Call Sam Studios tonight.
Here's Alex Avila. Avila had an RBI single back in the second. And Alex now with a 5-game hitting streak.
Alex has gotten his batting average up to 240.
It wasn't long ago that it was sub 200.
Jackson starting to mix in some breaking balls here too. Keep some of the Tigers off balance. Inge grounded out to short on a breaking ball at about 83 miles an hour. So he's gone anywhere from 96 all the way down to 82, which is a 14-mile differential, which is pretty good.
Avila's base hit tied the game at 2 in the second after the Diamondbacks had gone ahead on a home run. That was off the bat of Mark Reynolds. The 2-1 pitch. 2-2 on Alex Avila.
That's one thing about Jackson. For the most part, in a fastball count, you can get rid of everything else because that's usually what Jackson's going to give you. He's going to come after you.
Each starter has thrown 59. And the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Avila goes down. Tigers go 1-2-3. Second strikeout for Jackson. He's retired 9 straight. Stand by Jaguar. Visit your local Jaguar dealer to experience the 2011 Jaguar XJ. And again, the sounds of B-Dab. Also in the April in the D contest. This was the runner-up song. They were in concert here before the game. Right next to our set, actually right on our set here at the ballpark. Rick Porcello back to the hill as we go to the 5th inning. And there is strike one on Kelly Johnson. Tigers have only 3 hits tonight, yet it's a 2-2 game. They've been out hit 6-3. Fouled away.
So far, so good for Porcello. They gave up a couple of runs there in the 2nd inning, and the majority of the runs he gave up on the home run by Reynolds. But other than that, he's thrown some quality pitches here today. The fastballs had some good movement, velocity anywhere from 89 to 91 miles an hour. That one at 93. And he's thrown some really good changeups as well. So it looks like he's righted himself after being skipped his last timeout.
It's his 4th strikeout of the game. Johnson has fanned twice. Here's Stephen Drew. For 2 tonight for Drew. A line out and a fly out. Strike one. He was a 1st-round pick of the Diamondbacks back in 04. He was the 15th selection overall in that 04 draft. Was big for the Tigers because it also produced Justin Verlander, who was the number 2 overall pick.
And Drew, one of the few number 1 picks that Josh Burns has kept lately. Of course, Upton, their right fielders, 05 1st-round pick, but the last few they've traded away. Tigers have a couple of them in Scherzer and Schlereth.
1 and 2 on Drew.
Daniel Schlereth, if you don't know, is pitching down in Toledo, left-hander for the Tigers.
The 1-2 pitch. In the air to center field, and Kelly comes out to make the play. A diving play out there in center field by Don Kelly, who continues to play a very good center.
He's got a lot of room to roam out in center field here at spacious Comerica Park. And once you commit to making this play, you've got to leave your feet and you've got to be fearless when making the diving catches in center field. Nice concentration.
Here is Upton with 2 outs. That stays high, 1-0. We were talking about Schlereth. I haven't checked his numbers in a while. He has 41 strikeouts in 30 innings.
No place for him to pitch up here. But if there is an opening, he might be one of the first guys that they do call on. He's got good stuff. Kind of gives you an idea of just how badly the Diamondbacks wanted Edwin Jackson to trade away 2 premium arms like that.
Fly ball right field. Maglio is on the run, coming to the corner. Out of play.
Scherzer will get the ball tomorrow afternoon against his former team. I'm sure he'll be all excited about that.
I was about to ask you, do you think these guys get amped up? Guys like Dontrell and Jackson tonight and Scherzer tomorrow?
Yes. Yes, they do. He's looking forward to his start tomorrow. And no doubt he wants to punish his old teammates, whether he says so or not.
Roll to third base, right at Brandon. Porcello has himself a 1-2-3 inning. Nothing doing for the Diamondbacks. Tigers baseball presented by Bell Tire.
Hey, fans, celebrate Father's Day this Sunday at Comerica Park and watch the Tigers play the Diamondbacks at 105. All kids 14 and under receive a Charlie Brown bobblehead. For tickets, call 866-66-TIGER or visit tigers.com.
Here's Santiago leading it off at the bottom of the fifth inning. Rolls the first pitch fair over the bag at first base. Santiago has some extra bases. He'll motor into second with a leadoff double.
Santiago got that fastball inside at 94 miles an hour and simply dropped the bat head on it, and LaRoche, a very talented first baseman, couldn't knock it down.
Santiago safe at second base with a double. Safe and secure, New York Life. Go-ahead run is on. The Tigers have another hit on the board. Kelly swinging away, rolls it foul down the first base line. That double by Santiago stops the streak of 9 straight retired by Edwin Jackson. Four doubles this year for Ramon. Tigers have 4 hits now. And they're trying to go ahead here in the fifth inning. 2-2 tie. Kelly pops it up. Foul ground at third base for Reynolds. One gone. We'll bring up Johnny Damon. Damon reaching on an error in the first inning. Lined out in the second. Tigers trying not to waste this leadoff double. David takes strike one.
I'm surprised Reynolds at third base there is playing in as shallow as he is, as closely I should say. Damon really doesn't ever bunt down in that direction, and very seldom bunts with a runner in scoring position. Therefore, Reynolds might aid himself in making the play should Damon hit the ball down in his direction by backing up a couple steps.
Bouncing ball up the middle. Drew goes over the bag to make the play, and Damon is out.
Drew was holding on Santiago when that ball was delivered home, and he was right there. Take a look at where he starts. First and foremost, he's right here in the back pocket of Santiago, and when the ball's thrown toward home plate, he's moving in that direction already, and he's just right there.
Here's Ordonez. Santiago at third with 2 outs. That means Jackson throws from the windup. Maglio had a single which drove in a run in the first inning. And a ground ball to short on the backhand Drew. And that's going to be it for the Tigers. No runs. The leadoff double is stranded. 5 in the books. Montero, Young, LaRoche coming up. Standing room only tonight here at the ballpark in a 2-2 game, and the Tigers fans have watched a pretty good one here tonight. Tigers 2 runs, 4 hits. Diamondbacks 2 runs, 6 hits. Someone getting married?
Yes, indeed.
Porcello back to work.
You know you got nice product when the girls can go anywhere they want to go on a night like tonight, and they're hanging out at the old ball yard.
Great product indeed, and it certainly has been all season long. That ball's hit pretty well. Left center field. Will anybody get it? Nope, it's out of here and gone.
Wow, Montero.
His second home run in the series. Montero, his second home run of the season as well.
They said that he could hit when I was asking about him yesterday, and he can hit. His last time up, he hit a bullet right at Carlos Guillen. He about undressed him. This is what he did tonight. And he also played long ball in the 4th inning against Galarraga.
There's Chris Young. That last home run, 395 feet the other way to left center. And that has given the Diamondbacks a 3-2 lead. Young is 0 for 2. Well, with that home run by Miguel Montero, another $20,000 has been raised to support prostate cancer research. If you'd like to make a donation, call 800-798-CURE, C-U-R-E, or go online at www.pcf.org. Here's a strike. 2-1 on Young. So Reynolds and Montero with home runs tonight. That's to center field, and Kelly is there. 1 out. Time for another game break. We go back to the studios, and here's John Keating.
The first baseman, number 25, Adam LaRoche.
Yeah, apparently so.
Well, that's what it's called.
Only Keating would know that. LaRoche, the batter. He is 1 for 2, single and a fly ball. The 1-0 pitch is drilled to right field and hit well. Maglio going back to the track, to the wall. It's up against the wall. LaRoche headed to second base, and he will pull in with a 2-base hit.
Not sure which pitch that was from Porcello, but it was at the top of the strike zone, and most left-handers usually don't climb the ladder and hit balls this hard, but LaRoche was able to do so. Two-seam fastball, it just stays up, and LaRoche clobbers it.
See Porcello mouth the words, "Get the ball down," after he threw that last pitch. And the 17th double of the year for LaRoche. That's going to bring out Rick Knapp.
One of the things that they have done tonight, the Diamondbacks, they have not missed the fastballs over the heart of the plate that Porcello has thrown. The 3 runs he's yielded have all come on fastballs, and the majority of the 8 hits he's surrendered have come on fastballs. And he's got a good changeup today, and he's got a good breaking ball today as well.
Futeni and Enrique Gonzalez warming up. Action in the Detroit bullpen. And Porcello now has surrendered 8 hits. Down 3-2. Mark Reynolds will step in with a home run in his back pocket tonight. In fact, he's 2 for 2. He came into this game 0 for his previous 15 with 13 strikeouts in that stretch.
He's got some serious power. Serious power. 44 home runs last year for Reynolds. 44 of them.
Two 2-0 on Reynolds.
And Matt Williams, the first base coach, has been a very nice mentor to Reynolds. since Matt has gone back on the field. Of course, they both played the third base position. And Williams also hit for a lot of power and on occasion would swing and miss. But what a top-notch defender was Matt, making all-star teams and winning Gold Gloves. I guess that's a pretty nice guy to be mentored by.
Here's the 2-1 pitch. That's rolled foul. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And one of the things that Matt Williams has kind of told Reynolds, you're going to strike out. Forget about it. I mean, you're going to strike out.
Well, apparently he's been able to forget about it because he has struck out at an alarming, in fact, record-breaking rate. Yet, the 44 homers last year, and he also stole 24 bases.
I brought that up earlier. 40 home runs last year, 20 bags, and 100 ribbies. The only player in the major leagues to accomplish that trifecta. So he's got some skills. Not many third basemen walking around with that kind of power and also the ability to steal a base.
Trying to drive in another run here with only 1 out. Porcello missed that one. 3-2.
Well, Rick's got a good breaking ball today. He's also got a good changeup, and that might be the pitch that he needs to go to here against a guy that will swing and miss. But get it down. Punch outs for Reynolds. 89 for Upton.
And he lost it, ball 4. Reynolds aboard for the 3rd time in this game.
The mental day off that his manager gave him last night has done well for him. That would be Reynolds.
So Leland coming out. Parra due up. Foutainé is being summoned out of the bullpen. So the Tigers make a wall side windows pitching change. We'll be right back.
All that poorly here today. And he has a couple of runners out there, but he gave up 8 hits, and as I brought up earlier, the majority of those hits on fastballs. I think he probably needs to mix in just a few more breaking balls and changeups, and I think Porcello will be right back on track.
So he will give way to the left-hander Foutainé.
Well, he's got a couple of extra runners out there that he needs to strand, and he was tremendous in that regard last year with Foutainé, and not all that shabby this year.
Gerardo Parra will bat with 2 men on and 1 out. Hit into a double play back in the fourth, his fifth of the year, and see if knee can get a ground ball here. The 0-1. Line to right center field. It's down. A base hit, and it looks like more. It splits the gap and goes all the way to the warning track. This will get 2 runs in. Parra is headed to third base, and he is in with a stand-up triple. And so the book now is final on Porcello. Those 2 runs will be charged to him.
Well, Jim Leyland had the matchup that he wanted. He had Nee on the mound, who usually strands the inherited base runners, but too much plate there to Parra, and Parra cleans the bases.
Bring the skipper out. 2 more runs coming in to make it a 5-2 game. Nee faces 1 batter and gives up a triple. So the skipper takes the baseball. Nee departs the scene, and we'll be back.
Numbers. He had 4 wins. He lost 5. He had 1 complete game down there. He pitched 65 innings, but he had good control. He only walked 16 while in AAA.
Gonzalez came up in the Diamondbacks organization. He pitched with Arizona in 06 and 07. Threw just 9 pitches in his outing against the Nationals.
And Jim's playing his infield in. He does not want to give away any more runs, especially the way that Jackson has kind of settled into this ball game.
Nine hits now for the Diamondbacks. This 3-run 6th has broken the tie. Here is Chris Snyder. He's 1 for 2, single and a strikeout. Driven to center field. Kelly is there to make the play. Runner will tag and come in to score. So that didn't take long. The sac fly by Snyder. Plates another to make it 6-2. And that run belongs to Nee. Snyder gets his 27th RBI. 4-run lead for Arizona. Top of the order now, Kelly Johnson. Johnson 0 for 3, couple of strikeouts and a ground out. 1 for 7 in the series. His only hit is a double. Gonzalez, along with Arizona, has also pitched in the major leagues with the Boston Red Sox and San Diego Padres. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Ground ball right side. Guillen has it. That'll end the inning. Big inning though. 4-run frame for the Diamondbacks.
Now time for the Coors Light freeze cam. We showed you earlier in this game LaRoche hitting a bullet right off the right shoulder of Rick Porcello, but we're going to flash back to May 23rd as well. A couple of Dodgers hit balls off Porcello's body. And he has been a target out there. Coors Light freeze cam was always brought to you by your Frost Brewed Coors Light.
Good news is Porcello is okay physically. The Tigers now going to have to try and come back in this one. They're down 6-2. And they've been out hit 9-4. Edwin Jackson at one point in this game had retired 9 straight.
Tigers had him on the ropes early. Bases loaded in the first inning. Scored 1 run.
Cabrera leads it off, then Bosch, and then Guillen.
And judging by Edwin's numbers this year, you've got to get him early. If you don't get him early, he usually settles in and twirls a pretty good game.
Edwin gave up a double to Santiago in the 5th inning. That stopped the string of 9 straight, and then he retired the next 3 without giving up a run. That's hit back up the middle and through. Base hit for Cabrera. The Tigers have their 5th hit. The 4th time in this game, 4 out of 6 innings. The Tigers have got the leadoff man on. 2 of them have scored.
Yeah, big fella can get you a couple runs in a hurry, and that would be Brennan Bosch. He's standing in scoring position himself as we speak. Opposing pitchers now know that Bosch swings at 75% of the first pitches that he sees within his at-bat. So they've gotten a little picky, and they're not throwing him first pitch strikes. But the problem with that is now you're falling behind 1 ball and no strikes.
Ground ball back up the middle. It's through. Base hit. Cabrera to second base. And here come the Tigers now with back-to-back hits.
And sooner or later, you have to throw him a strike. It looked like a breaking ball as well on the 1-0 pitch from Jackson. It is a breaking ball. It's a slider. It's down. It's a good pitch, but Bosch has got a lot of range with his bat. A lot of range.
Carlos Guillen hit into a double play back in the first inning. In fact, he's hit the ball on the ground twice in this game. Try and stay away from that here. The Tigers now have 6 hits as they try and mount a comeback after a 4-run top of the 6th inning. In the air toward left field and hit pretty well. Parra going back, looks to have room, and he makes the catch. First out of the inning. Now Brandon Inge. Inge had a base on ball, scored a run in the second. Brandon came in 11 for 24 on the homestand. Tigers need to string together some hits here. Back-to-back singles by Cabrera, and Bosch opened up the inning. Right at the knees for strike one. Jackson pitched 3 years with the Dodgers, 3 in Tampa, and of course last year with the Tigers. Swing and a miss. 0-2. Tigers tonight with runners in scoring position, only 2 for 10.
Jackson made his major league debut pitching for the Los Angeles Dodgers against the Arizona Diamondbacks on his birthday, September 9th, 2003, and beat Randy Johnson.
He gave himself a birthday present.
He sure did.
Swing and a miss, and Inge is out of there. 2 gone.
Jackson's got that good slider today at the bottom of the strike zone. And when he's been good, he's been real good. The breaking ball works very well for him. He's got a 95-mile-per-hour fastball, and he will also change your eye level and elevate the fastball and get some swings and misses. So Tigers have been looking at this Jackson here today, not the Jackson that has yielded 52 earned runs coming into play tonight, which is second in the American League only to his teammate Dan Herron.
Alex Avila, the batter. It's amazing sometimes how you can watch Jackson pitch and you wonder how in the world he could have an outing in which he gives up 10 runs. And then another outing with 8 runs.
No doubt.
Avila knocked one in back in the second. Tigers trying not to waste a couple of leadoff hits. They had a leadoff double in the 5th, but couldn't get him in. Bases loaded situation in the first inning in which Jackson got the double play ball.
His pitch count is in real good shape too. It's only the 78th pitch Jackson's thrown in this game.
One ball, one strike. Shattered his bat into short left, base hit. Cabrera coming around, and the throw to the plate is not in time. Parra hesitated with his throw, and it may have cost him an out. Meanwhile, Avila gets another hit, another RBI.
What great base running instincts here by Cabrera. Take a look at Cabrera out at second base. He's off at the crack of the bat, and that's the only reason why he's able to score here. Parra comes up, and he displayed a very strong arm, and it's Cabrera coming in with a strong slide, pushing the leg of Snyder out of the way. Gino trying to hold him up. He ran right through the stop sign.
Meanwhile,
dangerous play for Snyder. He gets his leg broke trying to block the plate.
Avila gets his second RBI, and now it's a 6-3 game, and here's Santiago to try and draw the Tigers a little bit closer. Let's see, 11 RBIs on the year for Avila.
That's a situation right there where Cabrera got such a great break off of second base. He felt like he was going to score. Well, that's a dangerous play for Snyder. Dangerous play for a catcher.
Cabrera was not going to stop through that stop sign. He decided to go right through. Stephen Drew will tag the bag for the out, and that's going to end the inning. Tigers get another run back, though, and they're down now 6-3.
On StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Detroit Tigers, go to StubHub.com and choose your seats today.
StubHub. 7th inning in a 6-3 ball game. Tigers down by 3. It'll be Stephen Drew to lead it off. Drew, Upton, and then Montero. Enrique Gonzalez is out there. The Tigers used 3 pitchers in that 6th. Porcello started the inning, then Knee, then Gonzalez. Drew is 0 for 3. 9 hits for the Diamondbacks. The Tigers have 7. Drew with a couple of fly balls in this game. And he sends another fly ball foul down the left field line. And so get back into the seats. A couple of years ago, Drew in the 08 season hit a career high 21 home runs. Has only 4 this year. The brother of J.D. Drew. And this is high. 2 balls, 1 strike. Diamondbacks here tonight are trying to snap a nasty string. They've lost 14 straight road games. And A.J. Hinch is dying for a win on the road. They're 9-26 away from their home ballpark. As Gonzalez issues a walk to lead off the inning.
Justin Upton.
2 runs a game. Team averaging 192. And the on-base percentage, boy, 261. So it's been a tough go of it for their last 14 road games. Today, though, much better. 6 runs on 9 hits. There's Justin Upton. He's 1 for 3. Diamondbacks have gotten a lot of their production from the bottom of the lineup. In fact, 6 of the 9 hits from hitters 6 through 9.
Drew will run on occasion.
Chopper hits slowly back up the middle. Santiago has 1 and 2. Double play. 6-3.
Upton didn't give him a chance to run. He swung at the very first pitch. Santiago times it perfectly. Slides the left foot across the bag and completes the double play.
There's Montero. Tiger defense has turned 2 double plays tonight. Montero's had a big night. Single and a homer. 2 home runs in the series. Having a little chat with Hunter Wendelstedt, the location of that pitch. The 0-1 sails high from Gonzalez. Gonzalez back in 06 made his big league debut with the Diamondbacks. Appeared in 22 games, many of those starts. Fouled away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Bouncer to second base. Carlos Guillen throws him out. Inning over, so the double play helps. It is stretch time here at the ballpark. 6-3 in favor of Arizona. Voting is ongoing for the 2010 All-Star Game in Anaheim, California. Help send your favorite Tigers to this year's Midsummer Classic by voting up to 25 times at Tigers.com. Vote early, vote often, vote today at Tigers.com. Got plenty of choices. Let's get some of that Old English D at the Big A. Cabby is still trailing Teixeira and Morneau. The fan voting at first base.
He might not win the vote, but he'll go. No debate about that.
Top of the order for the Tigers, Don Kelly, then Johnny Damon and Maglio Ordonez.
That All-Star game is always tough, boy, because there's always deserving players that get left off. Every year, it doesn't matter. There'll be 4 or 5 this year that you could make a really strong case for, but just not enough room for everybody.
Here's a question, and it's something that is debated, it seems, every year. Should every team be represented?
I guess yes, because I mean it's always nice to, if you're a fan of whatever team that is, if you're tuning in to watch the All-Star game, you at least see one of your players trot out there in your home uniform or your visiting uniform.
Kelly skies this one into short left. Drew will make the play.
How do you feel about that?
I agree with that 100%. Now, it would free up some spots for guys, obviously, that do deserve to be there, but there's nothing like turning on the All-Star game and seeing the uniform of your favorite team represented on the field. So I'm all for that.
Like one guy that more than likely is going to get left off, and that's Billy Butler of the Kansas City Royals, who's having a superb year, but he plays the same position as Euclid and Cabrera and Morneau and Teixeira. It's going to be tough for him.
And Billy Butler probably won't be the only guy that'll be disappointed if indeed he doesn't make it. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Johnny Damon. I was talking to Leland the other day about Zemayan. We've been talking about Zemayan and should he go, and how difficult it is from a manager who puts the pitching staff together, because Jim has done this before in taking setup guys as opposed to the closers who have the big numbers and get the big press. That's a fair ball down the right field line. Johnny going to take the turn. There might be a play at second base. There is not. He is in there safely with a double. So the Tigers trying to peck away against Edwin Jackson. 18th double of the year for Damon.
Well, you know Jackson's not going to walk many people. He's going to come right after you. That ball is down. It's at the bottom of the strike zone, and Damon gets out and around it, and he gets it right past LaRoche, and he had to get on his horse because Upton in right field, he got that carom and threw a seed back to the shortstop.
So now here comes Ordonez with the runner at second base.
Finish your thought on what Jim was saying about setup men and closers.
It's the pitch to Maglio first. It's up high. Well, he said that, yeah, it is really difficult. And really, when you look at it, their real chance is for the fan vote. And guys like, in the past, Okajima has won the fan vote. Nishek has gotten an opportunity. And he said as a manager, you know, you've got to take the closers because they have the big numbers, and there are only so many spots. With all the starters that are having great years, and because obviously the starters don't go, as Damon had trouble getting back into the bag.
I haven't looked at the numbers, but other than this guy right here, I haven't noticed many closers having those great years like Papelbon and Rivera, some of the guys that were kind of locks in years past. I really haven't noticed those guys having those same kind of superb numbers this year.
Well, I think Neftali Feliz is having a nice year. And when you look at, I guess, pure saves, and you got to look at other numbers than that. Roush is having a good year.
Right.
Soria is having a good year. Those are among the league leaders in saves. But
I would not take any of those guys over Zemayan right now. None of them.
And again, that's where it gets into a situation where if every team has to be represented, some of those guys are going to have to go. But Leland was saying, yeah, it's real difficult for a manager to try and take those setup guys. 2-1 on Ordonez. Crucial run for the Tigers. They have Damon at second base, down by 3 here in the 7th. The 2-1 on the ground left side and under the glove. Reynolds into left field. He tried to short hop that thing, couldn't come up with it. Now the Tigers are in business again.
Well, only Reynolds knows how he should have played this particular ball off the bat of Maglio. But you don't have a whole lot of time at third base to decide and determine whether you want to come in or whether you want to stay back. He comes in on this one, and because of that, he gets his second air of the game. And he kind of played this one into an air. If you take one step back, you probably get at least a better hop, and you have a chance at throwing Maglio out at first base.
So here is Cabrera. Second error of the game for the Diamondbacks. He's the tying run at the plate. One long ball away from knotting this one up.
Cabrera this year has done the majority of his damage 7th inning or later. At least 8 home runs in 22 RBIs after the 7th inning this year for Caddy. Monster numbers.
Here's the 1-0. Grounded slowly left side of the infield. They'll get the only out. Cabrera is gone, but he'll drive in a run. Damon comes in to score. Now the Tigers back within 2. And that is RBI 60 for Cabrera. He's going to bring up Bosch. 60 RBIs already for Cabrera.
Leads the majors.
Of course, Major League Baseball has added one more player this year, and so each league now has 34 players. So they are making strides toward getting as many people involved as possible that deserve to be there. It's tapped foul by Bosch, showing 1.
Now here's one guy that might be part of that internet voting, where there's 5 players that are chosen and for the fans to vote into an all-star game. It'd be nice to see some of the younger players, whether it be Bosch or some of the other younger players around baseball.
That's how Brandon Inge became an all-star for the first time last year. The internet vote.
Record amount of votes for Brandon as well. Very popular player. Oh, what a pitch. What a swing.
Well, there was a great marketing ploy last year that seemed to work too. The Tigers and Phillies got together. If we voted for Shane Victorino, they would vote for Brandon Inge, and they termed it Brand Torino.
Yeah.
Brandon,
and I think Victorino got in too, didn't he?
He did. Yeah. Both guys got in, so both cities had to be proud.
Jackson got away with a fastball on that last pitch. Oh boy, did he.
The 0-2. Way outside. Oh, and Ordonez is caught, and he is tagged out.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
Can you believe that play?
Not really.
It came all the way back to the catcher. Magdale got hung up, and he's thrown out.
Nothing Mags could do.
It's the last time you've seen this. Six-4 Diamondbacks take another look at that play that ended the bottom of the 7th.
I don't think I've ever seen this at Comerica Park here. Right back to Snyder. Maglio might have been better served just to continue to run to third. He might have had a better chance of getting there that way versus trying to retreat back to second.
I agree. Chris Young leads it off as we head to the 8th inning. 2-run game. Gonzalez back out there for another inning of work. And he checked to swing, but a strike is called. 1-1. Young is 0 for 3, scoring the run after reaching on an error in the second inning.
He is probably the leader in the clubhouse this year for the comeback Player of the Year award. That's how bad he was last year, Chris Young. So bad they sent him down to the minor leagues in August for about 3 weeks. And he went down there and played well. Then he got back to the big leagues and had a 3-homer game.
2-1 pitch. High fly ball, left center field, hit pretty well. Ballpark will hold it though. Kelly is there. One gone. Adam LaRoche. By the way, we have a sellout here tonight. The 4th sellout of the season. 40,681 here at the ballpark tonight.
Saturday nights have kind of been the place to hang out at these days, Comerica Park. They are standing all over the place. Those that couldn't get a seat.
There's a strike call. 0-1 on LaRoche. Doubled, scored a run in that big 6th inning in which the Diamondbacks scored 4 times. He couldn't hold up.
And the Tigers still have a golden opportunity in this game to win it. But Jackson doesn't look like he's going to give up that baseball. Their bullpen has struggled mightily, and I don't think Edwin wants to turn that baseball over to the bullpen. Not tonight. At least not yet.
The 0-2. Jackson giving up 1 in the 1st, 1 in the 2nd, 1 in the 6th, 1 in the 7th. And it's been a bullpen this year that has just absolutely struggled with an ERA of over 7. I'm sure Jackson would rather do it himself. Three and 2 on LaRoche.
Enrique has had some good velocity here today with his fastball. He's thrown 3 fastballs to LaRoche that have gotten above 90 miles an hour. Make that another one. I didn't know he had that firm a fastball.
Saw him a little bit in spring training. It's the first time we saw him as he joined the Tigers this year. He mentioned his time with the Diamondbacks. He's showing off that fastball tonight. 3-2 again. He's on the ground, foul.
Got to get that breaking ball down, especially if you're going to throw a 3-2. Matt Williams still picking like he had a glove on. Came up as a shortstop at Williams, but transferred to third base.
And again back out of play. Well, a 2-run deficit here in the 8th inning for the Tigers. Really not a whole lot, again, when you consider the numbers the bullpen for the Diamondbacks have put up. That has been certainly an Achilles for this team. It was their bullpen that was outdueled by the Tigers last night. Chad Qualls gave up the go-ahead runs in the 8th inning. Again, the 3-2. Swing and a miss. And Gonzalez finally takes care of LaRoche. 2 gone. First strikeout for Enrique.
And he finally got that breaking ball down at the bottom of the strike zone. And you can see it there. And that'll get you a swing and miss.
Here's Mark Reynolds. They've not been able to get him out tonight. A walk, a single, and a 2-run homer. Fouled away. Reynolds' home run was his 16th. That leads their team. 0-2, 95 on the gun that time. Gonzalez trying to close down a 1-2-3/8.
They want the same pitch, a little higher.
Just a little bit low. At the knees, but maybe a shade low. Borderline. Says Fox Tracks. 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. And Gonzalez has a 1-2-3/8 inning. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit, presented by Bell Tire. Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank. Strength and stability since 1849. Wallside windows for a free in-home estimate. Call 1-800-521-7800. And by Bell Tire, get the lowest tire price, period. Back here at Comerica Park, near the set of the Fox Sports Detroit here at the ballpark. Tigers down by 2 as we head to the bottom of the 8th inning, and Brennan Bosch leads it off for the Tigers. Edwin Jackson still out there. That was the 97th pitch thrown by Jackson tonight. It'll be Bosch, Guillen, and Inge in the 8th.
Bosch was up there sitting in a no balls, 2-strike count when Jackson uncorked a wild one that bounced right off something behind the plate, and Maglil was caught trying to get back 2 seconds.
1-1.
He's got to lay off that fastball. It looks good, but at 95, it's by you before you start your swing usually. And typically left-handers like the ball down in the strike zone, not up.
Chop to the right side. Behind the bag is LaRoche. And Jackson covers one away.
Well, what is Comcast telling us about Edwin's fastball here tonight? It's been a good one. And it's right about where it is always, 97, but he's gone as low as 77 with his secondary pitches. Anytime you start to get to a 10-mile-per-hour differential in speeds, that's good. When you start going 20 in between, that is excellent.
Carlos Guillen 0 for 3. This will be pitch number 100 for Jackson.
Just about every one of his starts this year, Edwin that is, have been 100 pitches or more. Very seldom does he not pitch.
Didn't Edwin have a game last year? I think it was against Texas.
130 something?
Yeah, in the 30s. 130s.
Yep, I remember that. He's a horse. He's got nice delivery. He's got strong legs. He's blessed.
Rolled foul. Oh, and 2. He was on May 21st last year. But he threw over 130 pitches in a game. Here's the 0-2. Ian rifles one foul, first base side. Looks like he's still strong, and with 102 total pitches, that first inning,
the only stress he's pitched in today,
which was aided by a double play, was 23 pitches.
They had him on the ropes.
The 0-2 is going to bounce in and get away from the catcher. 1-2 on Guillen. Same two teams hook up tomorrow. That will close out the homestand for Detroit and close out this series as well. Ian Kennedy and former Diamondback Max Scherzer. The 1-2. Swing and a miss. Jackson reaching back at 97 miles an hour here in the 8th inning and blowing it right by Guillen.
That's the definition of a horse, when you could reach back after you've thrown your 100th pitch and still get to maximum velocity. Jackson still got a lot in his tank.
Esmerling Vasquez and Aaron Heilman warming up in their bullpen.
That's a tongue twister for most, but not you.
Yeah, I had to go through it in my mind 2 or 3 times.
Not you. You're all over it.
Before I let it out. Brandon Inge 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. Jackson's 1-0. Exact total in that game that he pitched against Texas, a 4-3 win over the Rangers last year. 132 pitches he threw in that game against a Texas offense that was pretty good. And it'll shoot the other way in for a base hit. And a 2-out single for Inge.
That's why Inge's batting average is perked up about 50, 60 points in the month of June. Taking that base hit the opposite way. Here's a fastball. It's inside. It's about 95 miles an hour, but you don't try to pull it. You just simply pull your hands inside and hope that you can get some barrel on the ball and hit it the other way. And that's a perfect shot there of Brandon Inge, pulling his hands in real close to his body.
So that's going to be it for Jackson. He is unable to complete the 8th, but what a ball game he pitched tonight. Diamondbacks go to the bullpen. We'll be back.
It was Guillen, and this is an indication of how good Jackson was today. 3 straight breaking balls at the bottom of the strike zone. Cardinals gets a piece of the third one, and then he climbs the ladder with a piece of cheese at 97 to get the swing and miss. That's what Jackson was able to do to maneuver against this good Tigers offense here at Comerica Park. He changed the eye levels all night long.
7 2/3 for Edwin, 9 hits. He walked 2, struck out 4, responsible for the man at first base.
I was kind of wondering why A.J. Hinch would bring Heilman in to go up against the left-hander here in Avila, who's been swinging the bat very well, but there you have it. He is yielding just a .210 batting average to left-handed batters, while righties hitting him at a .321 clip.
Heilman, the former #1 pick of the New York Mets, trying to put out the fire here in the 8th, and there's a strike on Avila. Alex 2 for 3, couple of RBIs tonight. Knocked down, but not near the catcher enough. Snyder, so he'll track it down, and Inge will move up to second base.
Usually when you have a pitcher like Heilman on the mound that is doing as well against left-handers and struggling against right-handers, they usually have a pretty good changeup. And that's a changeup there that gets away from Snyder, and you can tack one more wild pitch onto the total of this Diamondbacks team, which leads the National League.
Tigers tonight 3 out of 15 with men in scoring position. They could chip away with another run here. Heilman has pitched in a truckload of games in the last 4 years. In fact, 3 years ago he appeared in 81 games on the side of the Mets bullpen. 78 2 years ago, 70 last year. A workhorse. The 2-1. 2-2 on Avila.
I was checking that one out a minute ago there. He seems like he can't decide whether he wants to go to Mohawk or the Mini Fro these days. He's in a cross in between.
Transition.
Yeah. I guess it's a Frohawk.
You didn't just say that, did you?
Yeah, I did. I said it. I said it.
A Frohawk. That's beautiful. Here's the 2-2. It swung out and missed. He struck him out. Still the inning over. And we've played 8. Parra, Snyder, Johnson coming up. All right, Keith, thanks very much. I think we ought to start a petition. Let's see if Keating will grow a mustache. I think he'd look good in a stash, don't you think, Ryan?
He had one. I've seen some pictures of John with a mustache. It must have been in the 80s.
That's when he went by a different name in those days.
He had a nice stash, too, did Jonathan.
Well, there's Gibby's stash. Steve Knight, I believe, was the name that John Keating used to go by.
He had a stage name?
He did. Steve Knight.
You're big when you got a stage name.
The anchor man. He's going to kill us the next time.
That's all right. That's okay.
Here's Parra to lead it off in the 9th inning. 6-4 Arizona. There's a ball outside. 1 ball, 1 strike on Parra, then Snyder, then Johnson. 6 runs, 9 hits for the Diamondbacks. Tigers 4 runs, 9 hits. Swing and a miss. Boy, Gonzalez has really done some nice work since coming on in this game.
What he does is he gives you a lot of body. As a hitter, you're thinking he's going to throw you a fastball because of the aggression with his body. And then all of a sudden, here it comes with nice tilt at about 82 miles an hour.
Fouled away. Parra had that huge 2-run triple off Foutain in the 6th inning.
Here's what I'm talking about when he gives you all that body. Take a look at the body, the aggression. All of a sudden, shoot, it's not there anymore.
The 1-2. 2-2 on Parra. Snyder, then Johnson here in the 9th. And the 2-2 is hit in the air to center. Kelly. 1 gone. Don Kelly's made a lot of plays tonight in center field. How about our Comerica game summary tonight? Here it is. Montero, big series with a couple of solo home runs for Arizona. Reynolds 2 for 3, the 2-run shot in this game. The Tigers, here's a big part of the story, 3 for 16 with men in scoring position tonight.
They had that many runners against Jackson on base today?
Apparently so.
Wow. It didn't seem like he had to pitch out of that much traffic today. That's a lot of traffic.
Ball 1 to Snyder. He lifts this one in the air to right. It's going to be playable for Ordonez. And there are 2 gone. It's 9 of 10 retired by Enrique Gonzalez is coming up. Only batter that reached against him was the Stephen Drew walk in the 7th, but then he quickly got a double play.
Well, he's doing what Tigers relievers have done really relentlessly all season, and that's somehow keep the game close and manageable until the offense has a chance to take over again. They've only got 3 more outs to do that, though, in this ball game.
Johnson is hitless tonight, 0 for 4. He's also fanned a couple of times. The 0-1. Scherzer and Kennedy tomorrow to wrap up the series.
That'll be a good one. A couple of guys that were involved in that trade in the offseason. Of course, Kennedy from the Yankees to the Diamondbacks, and Scherzer from Arizona to Detroit. Curtis Granderson, also Edwin Jackson, part of that deal. Daniel Slarick, who we talked about earlier in AAA now for the Tigers, came from Arizona as well. So seems like it's a good deal for everybody.
It appears that way.
Granderson is finally getting his sea legs underneath him in New York. Granderson homered for the Yankees in the ballgame last night against the New York Mets.
2-2 on Johnson. 3-2 now on Kelly Johnson. Santiago, Don Kelly, and Johnny Damon do up, and we get to the bottom of the 9th. Stephen Drew waiting on deck. There's the 3-2 pitch, and he lost him. Ball 4. Second walk given up by Gonzalez. Well, join us again tomorrow for the final game in this series against the Diamondbacks. Coverage begins at 12:30 with Tigers Live, followed by the game at 1 o'clock. And there is your pitching matchup tomorrow. Ian Kennedy, Max Scherzer will go at it. Tigers baseball tomorrow, presented by Bell Tire.
Don't forget, it's Father's Day tomorrow. Hey, you kids, take care of the dads out there.
If you'd like, aren't so inclined, come on down and spend Father's Day at the ballpark here. Huge crowd on hand here tonight, better than 40,000 again. It's a sellout here this evening.
Well, if you want, you can take care of me. I'm a dad.
All gifts are welcome. Yeah, not to mention the fact that the Tigers will be on the big road trip coming up, so it'll be a while until you can see this Tigers team again.
It's going to be a tough trip, too. Mets are playing good baseball. Atlanta is a very good team. And, of course, the Twinkies in the Twin Cities. They always play the Tigers tough. It's going to be a tough trip.
Here is Stephen Drew.
Pitching matchups have come out for that New York series, and it's always a good thing when you don't have to see Johan Santana.
So the Tigers recently dodged Strasburg. They didn't get him. They won't get Santana in New York. That's a good thing.
They're dodging Pelfrey, too, in New York.
Yeah.
Pelfrey's been a good pitcher for New York.
Nice, Dickey, and Takahashi will throw for New York in that series. 1-0 on Drew. He has a walk. 0 for 3 otherwise. Again, Minnesota with a comeback win, so the Tigers trying not to fall a game and a half behind. Foul back out of play.
Well, here's what the Mets and the Braves and the Twins have done this year. Also in their last 10 games. Road record for the Mets is really good. And Braves also holding home court advantage very nicely themselves. And the Twins have just been a very good team against the Central. It's going to be hot in Atlanta, New York, too.
Yeah, this is the time of the year where it really starts to scorch.
Balls start to fly. Looking forward to seeing Citi Field for the very first time.
Well, we saw the new Target Field earlier this year. See a new ballpark in New York as well.
And that would be Washington as the only one that we haven't seen of all the new ones.
That's right. Pitch out, but nothing happening.
Well, you can kind of see that Johnson wants to run. He's been leaning the last several pitches from Enrique, and it appears that Jim Leland pitches out more when playing against the National League than he does against American League opponents. He's pitched out quite a bit in interleague play already since we've started playing against the National League.
Runner bluffing, and that one missed. 3-1 on Drew. You've got Upton on deck. 2 out 1 by Johnson.
You want to keep this a 2-run game.
Rick Knapp back on the telephone. 3-1 pitch is outside. He lost him, so a couple of walks with 2 outs. Third given up by Gonzalez. And Enrique has thrown 53 pitches since coming on in this game in the 6th inning.
The right fielder, number 10, Justin Upton.
Brad Thomas picks up a baseball. Now they're going to have to deal with Upton here, the number 3 hitter in the lineup.
Now they're getting Thomas ready for Montero, who is behind Upton. Should Gonzalez need some help.
It's a strike 0-1 on Justin Upton. Singled in his first at bat, nothing since. He's 1 for 4.
Yeah, be careful with him. He's dangerous. I know the number is not all that glamorous, at least not yet for Upton. Batting average under 250, but he's one of your more talented players in all of baseball.
It's back out of play down the right field line, 0-2.
No one has left. 40,000 plus still here waiting for some heroics in the ninth. And the Tigers have provided these fans with some heroics in the ninth already in this homestand. Walk-off home run by Carlos Guillen, and then Cabrera also with a big home run against the Pittsburgh Pirates here at Comerica Park in this homestand.
Line drive, base hit, left field. Johnson coming around. They're going to send him home. Bosch's throw not in time. Oh, they got him. He called him out. And here comes A.J. Hinch to argue that one. Bosch with a cannon shot from left. Hinch is not going to win this argument. And here's another look as we go to break.
Second, it looks like he's going to score, but what a block by Avila. Johnson's foot never got to home plate because of the left foot of Avila, and that's exactly what Hunter Wendelstedt, home plate umpire, told A.J. Hinch, the manager. He never touched the plate. What a block by Avila.
Great throw, great block, great call by the home plate umpire. And here come the Tigers now in the bottom of the ninth, down by 2. Santiago leads it off.
Speaking of 2, the Tigers have been the best team in the majors at coming back from 2 runs late in games. No one's been better.
Wave and a miss. 0-2 on Santiago.
14 times they've done it. St. Louis, Boston, Tampa, all on that list as well.
The 0-2. Flared foul back out of play.
Heilman's stuff really doesn't fit the profile of a closer, but A.J. Hinch's bullpen has struggled mightily this year. Qualls was their closer when the season began. We showed you his numbers last night. Therefore, staying with Heilman because his numbers are really good against left-handed batters.
Santiago has a double tonight, trying to get it started here in the ninth inning. The 0-2 just missed.
With Heilman's numbers being so good against lefties, you wonder if Jim's entertaining the thought of a pinch hitter maybe for Kelly.
Kelly right now is standing on deck. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Fought off another one. Jackson tonight went 7 2/3. Heilman came out of the 8th and struck out Avila. Now he's back to work here in the 9th. In the air, shallow left field. Drew going back, and it is caught by the left fielder, Parra. One of those tweeners between the shortstop and the left fielder. Leadoff man has kept off the bases, one away now. Here's Don Kelly. Kelly tonight is 1 for 4. Kelly had a single way back in the 1st and scored a run. Need a base runner to bring the tying run to the plate. The 0-1. Make it 0-2. And the 0-2 pitch. Right back up the middle into center, and Kelly on 0-2 singles back up the middle. That's going to bring the tying run to the plate.
With 2 strikes, you want to visibly do something, whether you spread out, whether you choke up, but you want to put it in play. And Heilman purposely throws it at 81 off the plate outside, but because of the lack of velocity, and Kelly able to reach out and poke it right back up the middle.
Here's Johnny Damon, doubled, scored a run back in the 7th. Strike 1 on Damon. Each team with 10 hits tonight. Popped him up. This will be a big out for Heilman. The shortstop Drew. 2 gone. So we'll bring up Ordonez. Tying run at the plate with 2 outs. He is 1 for 2 career against Heilman. Maglio singled in a run in the 1st inning, has 46 driven in for the year. Cabrera against Heilman is hitting 400 career if he comes up.
And don't think for one moment that Heilman doesn't know that.
It'll be interesting. The 1-0 is grounded foul. 1 ball and 1 strike on Maglio Ordonez. More than 40,000 fans here tonight. A sellout. Tigers down to their final out. Here's the 1-1. In the air toward the gap in right center field. That is going to get down and get to the wall. Kelly will come around to score. And Ordonez has a double. And the Tigers are back to within 1. Maglio's 2nd hit of the night, and how big was that?
Maglio's been the hottest hitter in the American League. in the last month. Sizzling hot. Inside out classic swing.
We see you, Kelly. Pumping all the way around from first base.
With these numbers that Cabrera has against Heilman in a base open, I know typically you do not want to put the winning run on, but in this case, I'd have a hard time allowing Cabrera to beat me, especially with the numbers that Heilman has against left-handed batters this year.
I got to believe you'd at least entertain the thought of not letting him beat you. 6-5 game and ball 1 to Cabrera.
It may be one of the situations where it's an unintentional, intentional walk to Cabrera.
Bosch would be next.
400 career batting average for Tabby against Heilman.
Ooh, he had a whip. 1-1.
And Jen said in these situations, it's almost like when Cabrera's up, you just expect him to do it because he's done it so many times this year. You expect him to do it.
Single RBI run scored in this game for Cabrera plus a walk. He represents the winning run at home plate. Here's the 1-1. In the air toward right, slicing, and that will head back into the seats. One and two on Miguel Cabrera. 6-5 Arizona. Well, this crowd is fired up. They are ready to explode if Cabrera can come through here. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. And the Arizona Diamondbacks snap a 14-game losing streak on the road with a hard-fought win here tonight. The Tigers get a run in the bottom of the 9th inning. And Arizona comes away behind Edwin Jackson with a 6-5 victory. Back with more from Comerica Park.